Hello everybody and welcome back to the Ur-Quan Masters Hardcore Challenge, No Starbase Challenge. It's been a couple of days since the last episode, I think probably 5 or 6 days from now, so I'm sorry for not being a bit more regular than I was expecting to or hoping to originally. We're here against 5 Vucks, so this will be another one of those battles that takes a little bit of time, but luckily the Vucks are pretty easy, so I can sort of chill. I just sort of sit here and slowly and surely take them down with my BUTT missiles. I went into testing and actually found that the cruiser, the Earthling cruiser, is also pretty good at taking down the Vucks, if for some reason you don't have FWIFO. So that also works really well against the Vucks. But I'm going to use Spathy, just use FWIFO because I love FWIFO. What's not good to like about FWIFO? Another problem with the Earthling cruiser is that sometimes if the Vucks spawn too close to the cruiser, it's difficult to get away from the limpets, while the FWIFO has no problem whatsoever with that. But yeah, anyway, that's enough about that, because it's pretty normal otherwise, this battle. And all battles against the Vucks. Oh, that's annoying, but whatever, we'll deal with it. Because we've got these Pekunk now that can just basically get crew from nowhere. So yeah, a few things that have happened since the last time I made a video. The first thing is that someone asked, I cannot remember now who asked, they haven't asked in the last like 3 weeks or whatever. Someone asked, and I can't exactly remember who it was, I'm sorry if I can't remember. You might still be watching these videos. Whether the voices that I use for my Project 6014 Let's Play are still available. Because obviously Project 6014, the one thing about Project 6014 is that it was decided that the voices for all of the aliens would not be put in the game yet, because some people decided that they weren't good enough yet. So some of the voices weren't put in the game. That includes the Shamur. Actually, I think the Shamur voice was eventually done, because I swear I saw on Damon's YouTube channel a Shamur demo, the voice at least, for Project 6014. It was much better than my attempt. But I didn't see it until too late, and I don't think I would have been able to extract the sound files anyway, or extract the voices. But no, I did the voices for, I think, the Shamur. I tried to do some voices for the Shamur. I tried to do a Shafixty voice. I tried to do Commander Hayes. What else did I try to do? I tried to do Shafixty. I tried to do a lot of different voices, and someone was asking where they were, if I had them still, and I said I don't. I said I think about 2 years ago, I think I remember saying, basically I deleted them accidentally. That's because it turned out that I just forgot where they were, and I've just found them in the last week. I found that comment again. I somehow saw it again, I don't know how. Someone might have commented on it or something. So if you still want those narration files, I've got them, and I'll happily send them to you. It's just a bunch of files. If you actually want to put them in the game, it will be a bit of work. I don't even know if it's possible to do that. But because the way I did it, I didn't actually put them in the game files. I just played it when I was doing the editing. I just played them over the top. So yeah, I mean, it might not be even possible to put them in the game. If it is, I don't know how you do it, because I remember, at least when I was looking at some of the files in this game, the Ur-Quan Masters, the Star Control 2 remake, it's just a bunch of files numbered from basically 0 to whatever the number of narration files there are, number of sound files there are for the voices, and so I don't know whether that sort of thing's possible in Project 6014, since they haven't actually sort of been implemented yet. But if you still want them for whatever reason, for your own amusement perhaps, then I have got them. So just ask away if you want them. So that's the first thing, is that I found those, and it was pretty funny to go back to them and listen to them, because, as I said, I thought I'd lost them as well. So, 2 years later, listening back to them, they were very funny. What else has happened? Oh yeah, so another thing that happened is that I watched a really interesting video. Obviously, a few people have done Let's Plays of this game, and one of the people that I found quite more recently, I was a bit surprised by it, because it seems to be one of the more popular ones on YouTube, is by a guy called Jim Plays Games, I think. Jim Plays Games, maybe? And he did an incredible video. He did the whole Let's Play. I think it was blind. It was even more blind than mine, because I actually knew what happened for the first hour or so of the game, because I watched the Oxcast play it like 3 years ago, or 4 years ago now, jeez. So I actually knew what happened. It's like near the beginning of the game. He didn't know it at all, so it was quite interesting. He got into a few sticky situations that I didn't. I was quite lucky because I think the comments did definitely help with mine as well. I think maybe he didn't check the comments or something because he definitely got into a lot of situations that I was surprised I didn't find myself in. For example, he got into the situation we talked about a couple episodes ago, which was not sending the Ilrath away and having them ambush you at Procyon. And he also didn't find enough egg case fragments. Maybe he didn't find any egg case fragments at all and had to sell his crew to the Druge to get the Rosy Sphere. And so that was a bit of a moral dilemma. But yeah, he did a really cool video. You should definitely all go and watch it if you haven't already, because it's really, really good. Really well put together. And it's called Looking Back at Star Control 2. I think that's literally what the video is called. It's called Looking Back at Star Control 2. It's spoiler heavy, but if you're watching this, you've probably played the game before, because this is quite spoiler heavy in general, this Let's Play. Go and watch it. It's called, Looking Back at Star Control 2 by Jim Plays Games. I think if you just type that into Google, you'll get it straight away. And basically, he goes through the game. He goes through what he thinks about the game. But he brings up something really, really interesting. He brings up lots of really interesting stuff. And it's really, really well put together, with some really epic music, and really, it's really well cut. And put some really nice quotes in, one from Babylon 5 about freedom, which is really nice. But yeah, it's a really nice video. But there's one really interesting bit of the video, which I think I'd talk about, because this is the one bit that I think deserves a bit more discussion than there has been, which is the Melnorme, which is about how the Melnorme give you the technology in this game. And basically what, I don't know whether it's his idea, or whether he found it somewhere, but he said that it's quite strange how the Melnorme ask for biodata when they're sort of just around it all the time. There's biodata everywhere. I was watching, I said I was watching the Yoscast live streams playing Star Control, and one of them said, well, I don't know why they asking for biodata. They were literally orbiting a planet with loads of biodata on it. And I had no good answer to that. I don't understand. It's true. They're asking for stuff that they could literally go and find out themselves. Especially since they seem to know so much about the galaxy. Surely they know about where the rainbow worlds are and how to find biodata and stuff. Surely they can do all that. So that was really, really weird. But the possibility, and I think it's a really interesting one that it was in that video, was that the Melnorme are just trying to justify themselves giving you the technology. And at some point in the game, when you talk to the Melnorme, Greenish, whatever his name is, he talks about how in the Melnorme society, fair trade is a very important concept. Like, scamming people is considered vulgar, but also, giving people stuff charitably, for free, is also considered inappropriate. So they are required. So their culture, insists on a sort of fair trade ideology, and so the idea is that the Melnorme are trying to effectively fabricate a price for their technology that they give you, and that seems a little bit far-fetched. But when you consider the sort of quite followed theory that the male Nom, or the male Num, who were nearly destroyed by the Ur-Quan back in the Sentient Milieu era, when just before the First Doctrinal War, a lot of people seem to feel it's a reasonable suggestion that the male Num are ancestors of the Melnorme. I don't know if that's ever actually suggested in the game, but it's definitely been discussed. And it seems reasonable. Well, does it seem reasonable? I mean, they've got roughly sort of the same name-ish, and they're one-eyed creatures, the male Num. So a lot of people think there might be a connection there. And when you take that, if you assume that to be true, then perhaps the Melnorme have a reason to want to defeat the Ur-Quan. So maybe it makes a little bit more sense in that scenario. So it's quite interesting. Probably not something that, well, I don't know. I mean, Fred Fordham, the guys who made this game, had such good storytelling ability that maybe they hid that somewhere in there. But I doubt it. But it's a good theory. I think it's pretty good. It's like a little bit of an idea. What do you think? What are you going to think of that? That the Melnorme are just trying to fabricate a price for their technology that they can give you. I think it's a pretty cool idea. So I'm gonna say that's the case because that sounds awesome. Okay, but anyway, we've just mined out that planet, or killed everyone on that planet at Deus Extensis Planet 1. Carbide worlds seem to be pretty good worlds for organics, as do copper worlds and green worlds. Those seem to be the main worlds that we're going to. Basically, all these worlds that we're going to are the ones which have the spathy on them, the sort of, well, not spathy, but the sort of spathy-looking weird monsters that just sort of roam about the speed of your lander. So they're pretty like annoying to catch up with, but they give a serious amount of RUs. That's another question, I guess. Is there any particular reason that the certain the certain animals and stuff, the certain monsters that you find on planets, is there any particular reason why they have the biodata values that they do? Because there are certainly some of these creatures that are much more difficult to kill than others, yet give less bios. So maybe it was just sort of a bit semi-random. I don't know how it was decided how to do that. A lot of stuff about this game that is still nice to sort of. It's amazing how much of this game is still sort of quite secret, quite unknown. But at the same time, it's nice to hear about how the game was made. I was watching quite recently a interview, it was basically an interview with a live audience of Fred and Paul Riche, and they were going through how they. It's quite interesting actually how they were going through how they managed to design all the planet surfaces, because even among all worlds of the same type, they all look different. All green worlds look different. They've got different textures on their surfaces. All crimson worlds, or whatever they're called, all redo worlds look different in slightly different ways. And I was wondering, how did they do the textures for that? And they were going through how they did that, and they basically sort of had this system where they made random cuts through basically a clean slate, and sort of divided it up into these random fractions, and basically did a sort of a randomized system. I can't really remember exactly. I'm trying to remember something off the top of my head, which I can't. But again, go and look up that. Go and look up Fred and Paul Riche interview. In fact, let me go and look that up now. See if I can find that while I go into hyperspace. Let's find it. Fred Ford, Paul Riche. This is an incredible showmanship of multitasking by the captain of this precursor vessel. Oh yeah, so just look up GDC Star Control post-mortem, and you'll find the interview which I'm talking about. They basically go through a lot of the aspects of the game, a lot of where they got their music, a lot of where they got the designs for the ships. It's pretty cool to go and watch. So again, if you want to, just see a little bit more about the game, go and see that. They've done a couple of interviews recently, and that one in particular gets to the heart of a lot of quite interesting stuff that they've not really talked about much before. And they go into sort of a little bit into the story of actually making the game, of what it was like, how they basically they had a deadline and they went over it, and they could have easily just released the game there and then, but they on their own fuel got to the end of it and managed to finish it off. And I think there are some really quite big aspects of the game that everyone really loves that they wouldn't have added if they had given up at the deadline. So that's pretty interesting, and that's sort of the thing about all of these games that end up being really, really impressive, is the ones that are made by people who really want to make a good game rather than want to just make a lot of money. That's sort of the idea. I guess another one. Whoa! I see the cruiser would have had no chance there. That would have been game over for the cruiser. Another one of those games, I think, is like Minecraft. Is another one which just, let's be honest, I really don't think Notch thought it was going to be very successful, but it ended up being just an incredible success story. What other games are there like that? I don't know. I'm sure there are lots of examples, but this is definitely one of the big ones, Star Control. I mean, look at it. I mean, how many games can you think of that have, first of all, a HD remake, let alone just a remake, that's compatible with modern PCs, which was the original Ur-Quan Masters remake. We've now got the HD remake, thanks to an amazing set of guys such as Damon. We've also got a whole remixing of the soundtrack. You know, how many games, can say that about themselves? You know, it's crazy. And not only is, each track only got one remix, there are, especially the hyperspace theme has loads of remakes. There's about, I don't know, there's definitely at least 9 or 10 hyperspace theme remix, and all of them are great. And I'm sure lots of people have their different favourites. I think this is definitely my favourite, the one I've had installed in this game for the longest time I can remember now. I personally don't like... the only one I don't like is the actual one that comes, with the game in the remix pack by default. The weird one, which is sort of not anything like the original. So that was the first thing I did, was switch it out for this track. If you want to do that and you don't know how, what you basically do is you download the other music that you want. So, for example, if you want to change the hyperspace theme, download another hyperspace theme. Then you need to, if it's not in .ogg format, you need to go and change the format. And I use media.io, just a very simple, slightly glitchy, but you can get through it if you just don't muck it up. Page where you basically just upload a sound file, MP3 or whatever, and just change it to .ogg format. And then you've got the new hyperspace theme in .ogg format, and then simply just replace that with the original hyperspace theme, which is in the folder already. And make sure that you change the name of the new one so that it matches the old one, because otherwise the game won't recognise it properly. If you do that, then you'll load up the game, and when you go into hyperspace, you'll get the new track. That's basically what I did, and I did the same for the quasi-space theme as well. Well, actually, that's interesting, because I originally changed the quasi-space theme to the one which is more like the original, with a sort of do-do-do-do at the beginning, like the sort of repeated arpeggio. But I've started to really like the other one again, the original remix, which is called Angles Through Space, maybe? I think the one I changed it to is called Mystic Shadows. But no, I'm really starting to like the original again, Angles Through Space, so I might change it back to that one. We'll see if that happens. But no, that's there's a few of the remix tracks that I really, really like, and a few of them which I think by default, the default ones aren't as good as other ones that are available. I can't remember exactly now, I might have changed the Kohr-Ah one as well. I can't really remember. It's really hard to remember sometimes. It's been so long since I did this, like literally about 3 years ago. Well, hang on, when did I start this Let's Play? The original Let's Play. I started the original Let's Play in August 2013, maybe? I can't really remember. Something like that. Crazy. That's a long time ago. Doesn't feel like more than 3 years, I'll tell you that much. So yeah, it's sometimes hard to remember what I did. Oh, wow. I did not expect that to happen, but that's fantastic. We can just continue as if nothing happened. It's a bit weird how that happens when they get so close to you and they just disappear out of nothing. But we'll go along with it anyway. So yeah, I think we're probably done with the Vux for now. I think that's literally the last we'll see of the Vux in the whole game, unless we accidentally come across them again. I think this is a probe though. Good old probes. They're literally going to appear every day from now on. Well, they're going to appear whenever they can. That's the nature of this No Starbase challenge. If you don't visit the starbase, they literally do not stop coming, even if you've got the destruction code. A little bit annoying, but that's the way it goes, unfortunately. Obviously, it's no problem to us now, but we can just destroy them on contact. But obviously, it's a little bit annoying. But no, that's the last of the Vux. We've got the Mycon coming next. I think I've already said that the Pakunk are probably going to be the best way to kill these guys. It might take a few tries. I've done a little bit of practice, but basically, the main tactic is just to not get hit by their weapons. Obviously, just as any other fight. But here we go. We're coming up to the start now. Maybe there's going to be some Mycon here.